we'll call this to order. And the first thing we got to do is approve the minutes from May 12th.
I saw a couple just typos, which I've already told the office about. So with those two corrections, I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Next up, we've got the treasurer's report. All right. That's a long list of things.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bills, the vouchers, F and G and A.
We got a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Let's see. Two of these. All right. Next up, written reports. Swing down here to cemetery.
I'll make a motion to accept the cemetery report as written.
Second.
All right, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, next up is codes. Let's see here.
Seems like a lot of people are making some home projects while they're on quarantine.
A lot of decks.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the codes report.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. All righty. Moving along, dog control.
Look like all
Am I
the
correct?
dogs.
Is that, I'm sorry.
Codes
Am I
built in.
correct? Is the first person a dog bite?
Yeah, it looks that way.
I'm assuming the person was okay.
I hope so.
Me
You
too.
don't see that one too often. That's why I kind of hit my eye.
All right.
Motion to accept is written, though.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. DPW. You guys have been doing a really great job with less than full staff. So
I'll second that.
yeah, I mean, it's really impressive how great the village looks, and I know they're working extra hard to make sure that they can do that shorthanded. So I appreciate it very much.
Me too.
I had a question. When do you think we'll start trying to bring folks back that are still out?
We brought a few back part-time,
Mhm.
and then I think everyone's slated to come back August, beginning of August, but we may move that up a little bit by a couple weeks or so, depending.
That's what I was kind of wondering and thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see.
I know Mike noted that if we can mention to residents that sticks and tree limbs need to be separated from leaves and yard waste.
Yep.
And then also, I'd like to mention that our DPW guys, Phil and Mike, have been going out and checking the sidewalks and checking the pores. And they've made a couple corrections. So, you know, they're keeping on top of it. And I'd like to thank Phil and Mike for doing that.
I'll second that, Pat.
Yeah.
Just one quick thing. Hal, won't bringing back the employees though depend on funding? Or no?
Yeah, it will. I mean, we're kind of still in a tough budget time, and so I don't know that we can go too much farther past where we're at bringing back part-timers, but also if we go into phase 4, which I'm not sure, I think that we're going to hit phase 3 this week.
Right.
In fact, I have a call from Paul Hyder. I wasn't able to grab, and he left a message, but he might be telling me that we're doing that. But once we go to phase 4, that would open up all the rec things again. Then we would really need to get Zach back in here to see if we could do like a late season soccer or something like that. So
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Mike or Phil, you guys have anything to add to the report this month?
I don't think they're on.
I don't see them on.
I don't either.
Very good. Then do we have a motion to accept it?
I'll definitely make a motion.
I'll second.
I'm first.
Unanimous. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty then. Let's see where we're at now. Fire department.
I know we're at fire department, but I also see that they had something about authorization to auction off surplus vehicles from DPW. And I didn't see that under new business, or did I miss that?
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's in there, but we should probably.
I was gonna say, I've got that right here, but there's a vehicle, a mower, a bunch of desks, some miscellaneous fire stuff.
Yeah. Agenda item, I think, was the question, and I'm not sure.
That's H, Hal.
Oh, it's part of H.
I have H's New York State
Yep, it's the
Department
rollover.
rollover, right?
So the
That's
part of
the bus
rollover-
here.
Okay. Yeah, I know we want to get that Ford pickup to auction before something happens to the transmission. So yeah, we should probably authorize that when we get there. All right. Any other comments, questions on DPW?
No.
Right.
Hal, the only other thing is we're handing out the compost bins at DPW for those that ordered them on Saturday from 8 to 12.
8 to 12 at the DPW site,
Yeah.
handing out the bins. All right, great. That's great. Another good bit of folks jumping in and ordering those. I'm impressed of how many so.
Was that the second 100?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
halfway.
damn. I wanted one.
I figured you already had one. In.
I
No.
forgot to it.
There's,
Ed, I can put you down if you're gonna pick it up if you want one.
Oh,
I have a few left over.
I'll be there.
Okay.
How are people going to know that they're being picked up on Saturday?
I'm calling all that ordered tomorrow.
Well, there you go. All right.
So that's our first day, and then we'll have a second day during the week. And then Mike also said people who have paid already can come over in the afternoons after Saturday, so they'll be told all that when they get the phone calls tomorrow.
all right.
Speaking of compost bins, were we going to see if we could get like a master gardener in to do a class on composting?
Yeah, that's something that we wanted to do, but we put that on hold during the the whole pandemic.
Okay.
Want to go back there? Okay. All right.
All right. Did we have a motion in a second yet?
For
For the
DPW?
fire department?
Yeah. No. Oh yeah, we did DPW. We're on the fire department now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we got sidetracked.
Yep. Sorry.
I was impressed that we actually had a couple fires that they put out, which is really different. than most days, which is great. And they had
You
some
mean that we
damage.
don't normally put them out, or?
No. Oh, you guys are tough.
You know,
No,
they've never
you-
lost a foundation.
No, God. We're not going there. But anyhow, normally it's a lot of calls that aren't fires. And so they actually had fires that they actually worked on, which is great. And they lost a truck, it looks like, in the town of Homer someplace, $40,000 worth, which is impressive. So anyhow, thank you guys. You know,
Yeah, I don't
run
remember
away
exactly
from
what the
fire, you
calls
guys
are.
run into them. So, thank you.
All right, Malin, do you have anything to add other than the report or any of the other chiefs that are on? I see a few other of the chiefs that are on.
Steve is on, Jay's on. The only other thing, I've sent the proposed, I don't know if I call it policy, but I put it as a memo to
Right.
Hal and Pat. I know just because we talked about it the other day on the department head. I don't know if you got comments on that, or, when we can start that procedure to go ahead and open up a little bit more. Or...
Yeah, so we have, we've got that, and then Onondaga released their plan and regulations for opening up fire stations, and so I think what we need to do is just sit down and kind of look at them both. But it's not something that we have to vote on in a meeting. It's something that we just have to discuss amongst ourselves, and then I'll let you know. But I'll work on that tomorrow. I'll review both of those things, and if yours is close enough to Onondaga's, then we'll run with yours.
Okay. Or if you've got something that you can email me and I can take a look at, and maybe we should make some,
Sure.
minor adjustments to it. I'm willing to do that too. I know Tim and I've talked about it. I've mentioned it to the other chiefs that we're trying to work on a way to get it open back up. So.
Right. All right. I'll send you. Okay. Well, yeah, let me forward this to you right now, man.
I think the only other thing is, and I think I mentioned it to department head, but it may be so all the rest of the trustees know, we'll be getting an invoice for our hose testing, which is our annual. We don't know how much that's going to be until they come and test it, because it's based on the number of feet of hose that they test, and also the number of nozzles and appliances with relief valves that they have to test and make sure are working correctly. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that that's coming. It's probably going to be $2,500, $3,000, something like that. And I did talk to Tania today and Donna about where that comes from. There is a line item that I think you guys lumped all of the testing together, and she asked if that should come out of that, and I said yes, it should. The other item that we've got, and we just discovered this today, I think Steve was telling me, we have one pager left. We have a line item for $4,000 for pagers and radios and things like that. We've spent, I don't know, 300 of it, I think, on some batteries and that sort of thing. But I got to get a price, and I think they're going to be right around $4.25, maybe $4.50 a piece. I'd like to look at that and maybe get 4 or 5 pagers. We've got some people coming in, and we don't have pagers to give them. The older ones that we have are what's called a minute or 5. They don't support those pagers anymore. Paul Coolidge from DPW, fortunately, has been good enough to try to repair those through Mike, but he's running out of things that he can fix. So I think we're going to be really needing, depending on what that final quote from Motorola would be, to buy 4 or 5 new pagers for folks coming in so that we can give them something. So that's going to be probably a couple of $1,000 bill. We have, like I said, a $5,000 line item for that.
Okay.
4,000, and we've spent like 3 something.
Okay. 3,000 or 300?
We've spent 300 and something out of the 4,000. Yeah.
So we got plenty of room. All right.
I believe so, and we'll look at the numbers as to what the quote is, whether we go for 4 or 5 of them, and go there. So once I get a quote, I'll be putting the purchase order up. I haven't talked to Steve. I see he's on here. I did talk to Jay and Nick today, showed him what was in the budget. And I thought I might see Steve, but I didn't have a chance to. So he's kind of hearing this for the first time right now. But and he's the chief now that's in charge of radios and pagers and that kind of thing. But he did tell me he's only got one left. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and the pager line item number, I see we've got $4,000 budgeted, and you've expended $438 so far this year.
Okay, yes, I was thinking, for some reason I thought it was 318 or 319, but it's 4 something. Okay, yeah, out of the total 4, right. We had a couple of minor issues with the 2 pumpers. One had a little engine thing Mike took care of and fixed today. And we had one with a new pumper the other day after the motorcycle accident. And it was something that we weren't taught when it was delivered. It's a little issue with the shifting lever. If you move it in one direction, it makes it so it's in what they call a manual mode and the truck won't start. So we found that out, and at our next drivers meeting, we'll go over that with everybody so that they know what's going on with there. So unless anybody else has got anything, Steve or Jay, or if you guys have got something for us.
No, other than to thank you guys again for all the help that you gave us during the protest. That meant a lot. I know you guys did put a lot of effort into it, and it really did mean a lot to me that you were all supportive of that. And I think it made a impact on the people that organized it, because I know when I told them that you were going to be setting up the medic station outside for them, that they were very appreciative about that. So.
And I don't believe we needed to use it. I know Jay and Steve were there. I wasn't. I was doing some other stuff, but I don't think we had any work. Steve, Jay, anybody comment there? Somebody, you got to figure out how to unmute yourself. I think they're on their phone.
I want to thank you too, Malin.
Yeah, I don't think we had any patients at all. We just did the 1 PCR for the standby. We didn't have anybody come up to the table at all.
Good. All right.
Good. Perfect.
Somebody else said something. Didn't catch who that was.
Kevin Slack wanted to thank you.
Thanks,
Yes.
Kevin. One other quickie note from people in the village too. Sinfully Sweet did a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. She did a special because obviously we couldn't have our field days, and it would have been a perfect weekend. So she did a little program where she had a booth there that they collected some funds, and then she brought us a percentage of the proceeds from the different specials that she had. So I wanted to say thanks to her and her staff for doing that. I did on Facebook because that's where it was posted, but this way for those that are listening out in the village, that was certainly appreciated, because obviously we're going to be in a pinch for our own funds like everybody else is without the field days. So
We should maybe try to talk about coming up with some other way to raise some funds this year. And I don't know if we want to have a raffle or something,
A couple of the guys were talking about maybe just taking a day, a weekend, and doing food like we would, the sausage and hamburger hot dogs. If it got to the point that we could do that through the community building, certainly there's plenty of space and social distancing. And I think from what I heard, you can now have outdoor dining under a roof where that wasn't possible before. So we certainly have the capabilities of that kind of thing at some point in the future. I mean, that would be through Tim, but I do know some of our guys said, maybe we can offer that to folks in the village if they're willing to, be interested in that. Might be something that we can say, hey, look, here's the deal. If you want a nice meal, come on down. We'll give you sausage and hamburgers, hot dogs, and the usual fare. And maybe have it going for the day or a certain time period or something like that.
It would be well attended, Malin.
Yeah, it would be. I think it really would be.
Well, and again, that would be all part of what phase we're in and where we are opening and, what we can do. But I do know that some of our guys have talked about that. So
I think
Well,
we could.
speaking about that, Dan sent me a link to do a check to see if, and from what I came up with, I may be wrong, but it looks like we could open it,
open.
the community building.
Oh, boy, if we could, because there's probably some events that we have scheduled or could at least say it's open, again for rental. If that's the case, Tim, if you know where that is, maybe if you can get that to Tim Maxon.
I emailed Dan what I came up with, and if everybody could check it to see if I'm wrong or right, but from what I came up with, it looks like you can. It just has restrictions, just like everybody else.
Right, which would, most of the stuff that we have down there are family events, birthday parties and wedding receptions and things like that. And it would depend on numbers and, what they do, but that certainly would help if we could get that, at least a little bit of funding coming in out of that too.
The latest I've heard, guys, is phase 3 is supposed to take effect this weekend with 50% occupancy rate.
Okay.
It's inside.
Yep. And then the tables also have to be 6 feet apart inside it.
Right.
Right.
It's basically the same thing.
Malin, what about the person who gave me the idea does not want credit for it, but what about doing a gun raffle? I know that they raise a lot of money doing gun raffles.
Those things are open, and I think, we'd be interested in anything. Part of the deal is, trying to sell tickets sometimes, and especially now, some people have their money, some people don't. But, if we could get a gun or something like that, I think the guys would not be opposed to that. So, there's different ideas out there, and certainly we're trying to rack our brain for them. And, if you've got something like that, email myself and Tim, or I think if you've got the email list for the chiefs and Tim and Stu, just email us all. And,
Okay.
We'll take a look at all that. It has to go through the board for approval. They have to approve any kind of fundraising and that sort of thing, which their arm of the way it goes by village law and all that. So.
Got it. All right. Anything else? Did we approve it yet? I don't think we did.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right. Moving on to the police department. Chief Pittman, I know, loves to jump on. No, I just want to say that not that he and I didn't talk frequently before last week, but it was 4 or 5 times a day, every day, pretty much during getting ready for the protest, and all of that preparation paid off because it really went off without a hitch. And he was incredibly prepared. He was really great about it. He took the organizers around the morning of to show them, also to assuage any fears that people had stockpiled anything to cause trouble. I think that we couldn't have done better, and I couldn't have done it without him because, he just muscled through every challenge that we hit, and we hit lots of challenges. So that's my piece on the police report this month. But
I appreciate that, Mayor. I mean, could have done it without, outside law enforcement's help as well. The DPW is very instrumental, Phil and the other guys, Mike, putting up the barricades for us, taking them down. And we borrowed the barricades from the city of Portland. It all worked out well, and pretty peaceful protest. We only had one complaint, was from a resident who couldn't get to her house. Unfortunately, when she pulled up to where we had traffic stopped, the majority of the crowd was right there, but we were able to get her to her house. But other than that, I mean, the fire police and everybody else came together to the village. Did a great job.
Yeah, it really, I couldn't have been prouder of all of our staff, the volunteers, the fire department, and also all the residents and business owners that came out and support. Just having them outside or with signs or whatever made everyone feel welcome. You know, there was so many people from Homer marching in it that it was great. And I was worried, but it was great.
Me too. I marched in it as well, and it was very, very peaceful and very well attended. But
Yeah.
Chief, I got a question for you. You know, due to the protests and everything like that, and the change in police protection and all that kind of stuff, have you taken a second look at the school resource officers? Do you think they're needed as well?
Let me ask you this, Kevin.
Okay.
You want to be the one to say that they're not needed, that thing happens at the school?
No, but I want you to wondering if you've taken a look at it at all.
I know like there's a police department out in the western part of the country that pulled them all out of the schools. Unfortunately, I personally think having them in the schools is an asset, not only the police department to the community, because the kids get to know the officers, they get to know we're human beings too. They are, you know, we get that relationships with the kids.
I agree with you as well. I was just wondering if you had it on your table.
My table is pretty much full. I mean, law enforcement in general, we're getting beat up pretty bad right now.
No doubt.
You know, so I mean, you know, that's we've got really good SROs. We've got a great SRO program. I brag about it all the time on how great how it's set up. The officers that we have there, you know, the kids, you know, I go over during the when we had school, the kids, just the interaction with the kids and the officers, it's just a good thing to see.
All right. Sounds like you got it under control.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Make a motion that we approve the police report as written.
Second.
And thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks,
All in
everybody.
favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Now, going one last thing before we move on, I just wanted to know something that Chief had mentioned, that our Memorial Day ceremony, when it was live streamed, was viewed by over 10,000 people. So we may not have had a physical presence, but we definitely had a presence to at least 10,000 people. So thank you to everybody that made that happen.
Yes, thank you very much. It was nice. It was really nice. It was the best we could do under those circumstances. And so, yeah.
Great.
Well, actually, I have a couple things.
Sure.
This Saturday, we're preparing for the parade. I don't want procession, not a parade, it's procession.
Right.
Have we spoken with the organizers to see if there's how many cars are going to be involved?
We should probably touch base, but I'm not sure what we're up to right now.
I don't think we're going to have too much of an issue because it's going to be pretty much all straight line. The way we planned it is, going to work, I believe, well to get the traffic flowing. And the other thing I have is, it's in the tentative stages, is it's going to be a drive-through graduation, but I have just limited information on that. Still, it's still a work in progress, but that's good. That's looking like it's going to be on the 27th.
Very good. Anything else, Chief?
That's it, sir.
All right. I think we already approved it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're on to water and sewer. I don't know if Buzz is on or not.
Doesn't look it.
Doesn't like it, no problem. All right, they did fix that meter at Super Cream, so that's good. I know that was a problem. I know he was fixing some leaks. And then we just need to figure out, get a report from him on what discussions have been going on with the country club about fixing that leak. I know that that's a big issue, and I know he's working on it. So we'll find out from him next time about that. Otherwise, do I have a motion?
We do. I just have one quick question if somebody might be able to answer. So I come across some information that a house being sold in the village possibly is not hooked up to the sewer. So I was under the impression that everybody was. So this came as kind of a shock to me. So what would be the responsibility of the person buying the house? Would they immediately have to hook up, or is that something they could wait? Or
That's a great question. That's a question for, I think, for Kevin McMahon.
I think that's a code thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a
I
code.
don't think we allow any septic tanks in the village.
I didn't believe we did either, and that's why it came as kind of a shock to me.
Where is
they
this?
haven't investigated. It's on Suits Ave.
Is it? Okay.
They got a well?
Apparently, supposedly, and we haven't. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but I actually had Buzz just stop by and take a peek, and he suspects it is, but can't confirm yet.
Is hooked up or is not hooked up?
He says he suspects it's a possibility because there was a vent pipe, but he would have to do what's called a dye test to confirm it.
Huh.
And I wasn't going to try to give him authority to do something like that. So,
All right. So yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. We'll have to talk to Kevin about. I don't think it's an optional thing.
yeah, I thought you had to hook up, but I wondered whose responsibility it would be. Would it be the current homeowner, or would it be the person buying the house? That would I think be for those two to hammer out, because you know. Yeah. Oh, so we couldn't predetermine who's responsible then for something like that.
Probably an attorney would figure that out.
Yeah, these are Dante questions, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim, the problem with that is we would most likely want both of them to be involved depending on if the house sale went through or not. So,
Okay.
you know, right now the contract buyer doesn't really have any responsibilities towards the house because they haven't bought the house yet.
Okay.
But yeah, if that's the case, we really should put both parties on notice and their attorneys pretty quickly. I think Hal mentioned it, and I'm pretty positive we do have a law that requires all residences to be hooked up to, you know, the village water and sewer system. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
We do.
Okay. That was what I was led to believe too. So
Yeah.
Well, I will let the parties that are interested know.
Yeah, please do, because that's something that it would kind of really suck to be a buyer to find out you're on the hook for you know, that after you complete the closure of your house. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, appreciate it.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
All right.
Hi.
Unanimous. Okay. Next up, privilege of the floor. I see Fred on there, sitting there patiently.
Well, there's not a lot going on. I was away last week. I know Mike brought up the river cleanup that Ed forwarded to me. They talked about that. We did sign a contract with Barton and Judas, along with Cortlandville and Solon, to hire them to work us through the EDF solar project. So that's happening. Pat Snyder is going to be the attorney for the entire project. So I think things are rolling along there. We're going to have a meeting Thursday at 3:00 in Cortlandville. Cortlandville is going to take care of all the paperwork involved in that. So, you know, the road crew's working. We need a discussion sometime between you and I probably about when we open the building and how that all comes about, and when that's going to happen.
Yep. I think Chief Pittman was going to look into getting some of the plexiglass on stands for both offices, so they would be they would look consistent. And then, you know, Fred, I think next week might be a realistic time to open it back up. You and I can talk about that maybe Thursday or Friday morning if you're around.
I am available Thursday. Yeah.
Okay. Let me look at my calendar really quick.
While
Do
you're
you-
doing,
You
while you're
plan
doing,
on the offices at all anytime on Thursday, Fred?
Pardon me?
You plan on being down at the town hall anytime on Thursday? I'll come down
I'll
and
be
meet.
there anytime you desire.
You want to meet at 9 o'clock?
That's fine.
All right, I'll see you there.
All right.
The calendar.
hey, Fred, we've been going around on this LRIP, which is for the rest of the people, the local waterfront revitalization plan. Now, the village has got plans for the river. Now, I understand the town probably doesn't. The only thing that the being a part of the LRIP with which the state wants you to join for some reason, that's Jamie Reppert out of Albany, Department of State, is that there may be some monies to help with DOT and maybe bridges. And one of the things I put into our plan was hopefully taking one of your lenticular bridges, which I believe have been redlined, and maybe moving them and using them as a walking trail portion that we're trying to get for the river. So when they divided up the shares, which is $16,000 of the contract that they gave to Cortland and us, $48,000 goes to a consultant. Our share is 16K divided by Marathon is in, McGraw is in. We're hoping Preble. Truxton didn't want to do it because it would have made them have some zoning laws, which I guess they don't want to have zoning laws or some sort. I'm not sure how that goes. But anyhow, it can be done with in-kind labor. So, and you divide that all out, it could be like $2,000 a piece to be part of it. But I don't see where the town really gets a lot out of it. So if you guys don't want to be part of it, that's perfectly probably fine. I'm just thinking maybe you might get some monies to help fix the bridges, but I don't know. Over.
Because I wasn't involved in any discussions on that, do they clean up trees that are have fallen into the river and it's going to divert the water to eat the shore up?
That I do not know what they fund. That may be something we should be talking to the DEC, which is once I can do it, I want to go down and talk to them about that kind of thing to clean up the river. I agree. I do not know that answer.
You see, the town has got probably the most miles of river of anybody, because there's the East Branch and the West Branch that flow through the entire town. So there's certainly a lot of things that could be cleaned up and sawed down, and the pieces picked up downriver. So just
they could
more
give
for
grant
discussion.
for that, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
Why don't you assign a representative of the town, and then maybe we could get them in contact with the guy that we've been talking to in Albany, and even join me to go down to the DEC to figure out what would be going on. Because anything to do with the water or the shore, DEC's got to have their hand in it.
Ed and Fred, at that meeting, I think Pat Snyder was going to check into that.
Okay. All right.
All righty. Thank you very much, Fred, and I will see you on Thursday morning, unless you have anything else for us.
No, Pat Clune said he was going to sing at the last meeting, so I was waiting for that.
Whoa.
must have been something with the connection. I definitely did not remember that one.
I just like to pull his chains. So I thank you for inviting me tonight.
Well, you're always invited. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
So You gentlemen have a good evening.
You
Thanks,
too.
Fred.
All right. Good night.
All right, let's see. New business, item A, approve amendment number 2 from Barton and Lagudas for a field inspection and review of the Newton Waterworks pump station.
Sounds like a no-brainer. I'll make the motion.
Tim Daly's got the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. All right.
Also got to just hold up. If you look at, I sent out that email with regards to the $6,000 credit that Great
Right.
Mountain wants to give back because they don't want to put a trailer down. But if we do that, if we accept that, we just need to find an office space for a B&L representative. And I just thought Newton Waterworks would be the ideal place. Obviously, we're just going to look to see what COVID dictates we got to put in. It's probably should be a dedicated space that's just that person's, and then the other NWW employees don't go to that space, I guess. And I don't know if there's any IT problems or anything like that over there. I'll have to go check it out. But if you guys are going to accept that, then we got to find that office space for that person.
Sounds
Could
like
be
a
the
good
old
idea.
rec building.
Well, no.
I could do that too, but I just thought, since he would probably talk to Buzz as a third person between Green Mountain, B&L, and Buzz would be what all the 3 people he's going to talk to the most. If he can work right next, at least in Buzz's office, that would be the best thing. If it's not there, then yeah, we could probably.
Yeah, how about this? We approve it and then we'll figure out a location, because between all the things we have, there's got to be a place that we can find that's would be suitable. And that way, yeah, I would love to reinvest that $6,000 back into the project, into getting more done. So makes sense.
All right. So just approve the one amendment, then approve the $6,000 credit.
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Tim Daly second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else, Taylor?
No, I'll just provide a real quick status update on the actual construction project itself. Last time we were here, we were talking about a notice to proceed, which went to Green Mountain. We had our pre-construction meeting. They are currently planning to mobilize to the site next week. That schedule seems to be pretty fluid, so we'll certainly keep Dan and Buzz and the rest of the board up to date on that. Of course, once they mobilize to the site, things will start to pick up and move pretty quickly. I know we've talked about getting a schedule and a work plan as to where they're going to be working at a given time. We'll make sure we get that and distribute that to the board so that can be communicated to the residents as well.
Perfect.
So Taylor, we're looking at the week of 15 through 19 June tentatively for them to mobilize to the site.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Next up, approve appointment of Tania Janeiro to the Joint Committee on Plan Structure and Design at the Greater Tompkins County Health Consortium.
Granted, again, another no-brainer.
Yep. We got a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Ed motion, Kevin second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Next up, approve Dan to the Greater Tompkins Health Board as an alternate.
I'll make that motion.
Or trustee is more than welcome to take that if they like.
All right, Pat motion, Ed second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right. Approve appointment of Dan to the Joint Committee on Plan Structure and Design for the Greater Tompkins Health Board as an alternate. Ooh, is that? Yep. Okay. Yep. You made it. Ed second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right. Approve the liability insurance renewals with Bailey's Place. Let's
Yep.
see.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
No matter.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Now you guys are getting into the swing of this. All right. Approve the ESIP renewal.
I'll make the motion. We approve the ESIP renewal with McNeil.
Kevin?
Second.
Kevin?
10 seconds. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Very good. All right. So this one, I don't know. I think I mentioned it to you guys before. The county has brought in a consultant to do a big reopen Cortland campaign to get people back and to help businesses sort of advertise and navigate some of this stuff. And it's a right now it's a $25,000 campaign that a few of I think Cortlandville has contributed, the city of Cortland is contributing, the county's putting in a lot of money, and they asked us if we would contribute. And I said that we could do 1,500. I think it's a great thing to, get people out and going again and try to jumpstart the economy after this. So I would appreciate your support on this and a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Kevin makes, Ed seconds. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thanks,
It's
guys.
a great thing.
Just one quick thing, do we know how it's going to be distributed and who's going to be in charge of that? Or?
So yeah, there's this consulting firm is going to be doing it, and they originally were hired. They've already been vetted and gone through the process because they won the contract for the promotional campaign they were going to do for the Cortland DRI project, but that got put on hold. So they're going to use them for this now. So it'll be sort of directed by the BDC and the chamber, and also a little bit, I think, Experience Cortland, that organization. So I think they're sort of coming together and directing them in this, and they're reporting to the municipal leaders. So as I get things, ideas of what they're doing or drafts or any additional information, I'll send it right to you guys so you can get an idea.
Super.
So, all right. The next up is the approve the use of the New York State Department of Transportation rollover reimbursement monies for a Bobcat skid steer. So this is leftover CHIPS or extreme winter funding that we had that we can use towards a skid steer. And along with that, we were going to approve the auction of the items in the DPW report.
I'll make that motion that we do that.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Great. Okay. Next up, budget adjustments. Let's see. CSIP. All right. So there's just a series of budget adjustments that Tania has as normal. Right. Oh, okay. I see. Using that, the 1,500 comes from money that would have gone from my memberships, different memberships and things like that. That's perfect.
I put it into your memberships. And it's actually coming out of the excess we have for the COVID expenses that we planned, because it's actually advertising coming back from it.
Oh, okay.
So,
good.
So it comes from there. The credits are actually coming in because they're budget adjustments. The NICOM is your 1893. That used to be in the clerk treasurer's, and since it's really a mayor thing, so we moved it to you. So the expense is already recorded out of you, so I'm just putting the budget to correspond. And most of these are really all that is. The law breaks it out between any of the issues we like dealing with the workers' comp. It just brings it over to it from our general.
Got it.
And the rest of these are really reallocating between the department to the right boxes.
All right. And we don't need to, again, I ask this question every meeting. We don't need to vote on this. This is just for our information, correct?
No, you have to vote on it because I can't post them because the budget's approved and these are moving the budget.
Oh, well, see, there. Every time I think I'm right, I'm wrong. I'm used to that. All right, so we have a motion to make these.
Motion to accept the changes.
Second.
There you go.
Post.
There you go, Kevin. All right, you go I like it. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right. Approve transferring $300 to Newton Water and Sewer account and $300 to real property account at First National Bank of Dryden.
We're just collecting payments to increase customer service at First National Bank because they can drop payments off with their account numbers in the overnight or in a teller when it's open or through the drive-through. And there needs to be a minimum $300 for the accounts to be open.
I make
Again, a
that motion.
no-brainer. Good.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. There we go. All right. Here's one. Now we got a sticky.
I had another inquiry last week as well about this.
Same.
Yeah.
Same deal. Yeah. And it's not a different location.
So this is the
So
one.
just to give
go
you
ahead.
guys a heads up, when I went back to the old contract, it was proposed at least that in the old contract that duplexes got 2 containers. But because they were residential, and that's why they're asking because there's technically 2 families in each of these. So the
Right.
one that Dan's asking on and the one here. It still leaves us under the 1,300. However, we don't do any trash for if there's 3 apartments or more because it's considered commercial.
So what's the issue?
The issue here is our current contract only, and the one that was approved 5 years ago only does allow 1 trash and 1 recycling per building. I think this is kind of like a loophole. There's 2 families in it, so there's 2 sets of garbage. And so this only looks at, that we have 2 people here looking for it because, and this one happens to have a lot of little kids. So there's a lot of diapers that always overfloods and there's no room for the second tenant.
So the question is that Syracuse Haulers wants more money for the
No,
extra 2 cans?
They're asking, the people in the other halves of the building are asking for a second garbage can. There's no money involved.
No,
They can
let
deliver it
them
if
buy
we
it.
pay up.
If we have enough, let's do it.
It's $130 or something for a can. Let them have it.
They don't even charge us. It's
Well,
more of if
what are
we
we
want
doing
to
here
make
then?
this, once we do this, it becomes other people will ask.
Right. So then
In
this-
the contract calls for 1.
this opens the floodgate is the issue. And we have to decide if we're going to change it for everybody and everybody that's in a duplex is going to get a second set or not. And if we do that, what cost does that then add to it?
Okay, that changes it. So what is that? Nobody knows? So then you got to
It
put this
depends
on
on
hold
who
then.
asks.
So we've got to put it on hold till we find out, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know the answer to this. I don't know what to do about this. I mean,
Well, how many duplexes do we have in town? Does anybody know? I don't.
The person who'll probably know that is Kevin with our new software that he updated. So it actually downloads a lot of that. He might actually know that. And some of the duplexes do have 2 for some reason. Because originally that was the proposal, I think, but not all of them have 2.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there's a lot of duplexes. If you drive around the village on garbage day, some buildings have 2. And 2 garbage and 1 recycling, and others have 1.
That kind of answers it right there.
Yeah, I mean, if I guess if the horse is already out of the barn, then maybe that's the policy that we go 2 garbage and 1 recycling for every duplex.
I think we just need to be very specific that we're doing this for duplexes, not 3 and above.
Okay.
Once you hit, they have to buy their own. They have to have a dumpster.
I don't have a problem with that. Plus,
right.
it's not costing
Is-
us anything, so hey.
Will that affect what they want to build down the street from me?
The condos?
The
Yeah.
people that have built after this came out, every time we tell them that if you have 3 units or more, you have to do your own garbage, and they've still been building. So like the Yeamans has that, and
Yeah, I mean,
all the ones near here.
I think you know, most of these are going to be duplexes, so they could get two garbage and 1 recycling, and then the one that's got 4 units or 6 units or whatever, they're going to have to get dumpsters.
Okay.
Although we may have to rethink that. I don't know, because each one of those is a condo, so it's its own separate entity that pays its own property taxes.
Right.
Yeah, well, in that case, it's not a duplex and it's not a triplex. It's an
Can we
individual,
table this
so
for more
away it goes.
discussion?
Yeah,
Well, I think we've made a decision on the duplex. So I think we can move forward on the current issue at hand, in which we're saying if it's a duplex, they can go ahead and get an extra garbage can, 2 garbage, one recycling.
Yep.
And for the Arbor Brooks, because it's it's going to be a try or whatever for those. I think we can address that later when we get more information.
Let's just not let it skip too far down the road before we address it. Though.
Right.
Those things will be up before you know it.
Okay, well, so then let's. I think we need to change the policy, so we're going to need a motion and a second for that.
I'll make the motion to make the change.
Ed seconds. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, good news for all the duplex owners. All right. Discussion of the LWRPP.
Well, it's only a single P. It's a local waterfront revitalization plan. I've turned in 4 chapters out of 7. I believe people have had a chance to look at them. So I think they're okay, but I haven't had any feedback either. Chapter 5 is Dan's project, which is basically just looking at 3 or 4 code kind of things. I think they're in there. They may be just perfect the way they are, but I'm not the code expert.
It's not too far off the mark. It just needs a little cleanup, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think you're close there, or we could be there, given Toma, having them look at it a little bit to make sure it fits in with the big picture. Chapter 6 is all a list of just codes that we have to apply that the state sends us. And Jamie Reppert said he'd send it to us. So chapter 6 is done. And then chapter 7, which is the last one, has public information. You got to print it out. So we've already had 2 meetings, one in December when we had our LRIP, DRI, and Economic Development Committee meeting. And then we had another one in March. So we've had 2.
Are there minutes from those meetings?
The mayor has got those. And if he hasn't, he'll gin them up.
Okay.
Because we were there, right, Mayor?
Yes.
So was Pat, in fact. So
yeah, we were.
I didn't take minutes, but anyhow, we did discuss it, and people had comments about doing this kind of stuff. And then I have a survey that Dan has, Toma has, that we'd like to attach to the water bill that goes out at the end of June here.
Yep.
Where people can comment about what they'd like to see about our waterfront. Basically, what the survey says is stuff that's taken right out of the 2010 comprehensive plan, which says, you know, we want a river trail, you know, we want development. At one time, they wanted a restaurant on the river, and then they wanted a survey of the water, and then they wanted a survey of things like that. So anyhow, we'll allow people to make comments, add comments, rank them 1 to 10. And I'd also like to add in to the survey DRI comments. And DRI for the other people is Downtown Revitalization Initiative. It's the same $10 million grant that Cortland won. We turned in an application last year and we're told it wasn't transformational enough. So there's 5 different towns: Cazenovia, Hamilton, Phoenix, and Oneida, plus us. Oh, and Syracuse, which probably will never win it because I don't see how $10 million can ever transform their downtown. I don't think it can do enough to transform it. So anyhow, we can ask those questions, and that's part of the public. And once you publish that, and Reppert from the DOS in Albany said maybe that would be sufficient. And so basically we could have the LRIP done for the village shortly.
Right, but that's not done because it's going to be a combined project. City of Cortland's back in the driver's seat. The RFP, I assume, has gone out for consultants. I assume Tomo will probably get it, perhaps.
Right.
We'll see. But it is a deliberative process. And as Jamie said on the last meeting, Ed, the quickest it could ever be done is probably about 2 years. So we already get our points for having our portion of the project done. We'll get points on all the various grant applications that we'll do moving forward. But as far as a done LRIP, it's a long haul. And so we're a long ways away from that.
He said 2 things, and I agree with you what he said. 2 years. Started off with 7. He says it shortened it to 5. He says we can probably do it in 2. Now that is the combined Marathon, Cortland, Cortlandville, Homer, Town of Homer, Preble, and maybe even Truxton. And that'll take at least 2 years. He also said our section in Homer could be completed earlier. And that's what I was referring to.
Okay.
Because right now he said you got 4 points that we didn't have last year for a consolidated funding agreement. Remember, we've been skunked 2 years in a row on consolidated funding on river trails. So now we got 4 more points. Now we could get those extra 6 if we, just say, hey, we've done it. Tell us what's wrong. And for our section, and he did say we could do our section. So I'm pushing for the 10 points and have him, like you said, Dan, tell us, oh, you can't do it. I want him to tell me we can't do it, not us saying, oh, we'll have to wait.
Right. And
that's the status.
With Jamie, right there with us, it's going to be a much better thing to going through this whole process. I think our visibility is obviously much higher and much clearer.
Yeah. So I think we're doing well. We got 4 points towards our CFA. So that's really great, I think. Over.
All right.
Great job, both of you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know it's a big job.
Yep.
As is the next item, the dam project.
Well, can I just combine the M and N, if that's all right?
Sure can.
In the effort for full transparency, I'm not as far along as I'd like to be. So, but it is coming along. It's a lot of grants gateway work and work plans put together. And some budgets put together. I may reach out for a little help with that on down the line, but I know we would like to see that certainly the dam project get started in August. Like you said, it was a perfect time to get that done. I don't anticipate any reason why it can't get done, just depending on if the state gives me pushback of what we submit. I haven't seen anything that's going to on the horizon for that, but so we're still moving forward. The salt shed, though, is that still in Keystone's on Keystone's lap right now?
Yeah, and I think John wanted to have a meeting about that later this week. So
okay.
I'll let you know when that is. And
do you want to Zoom that one?
Yeah, I think maybe that might not be a bad idea.
Okay.
So maybe we'll shoot for like Friday morning or something like that for that.
Yeah, I think I can. So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll reach back out to him.
All right.
And then for the dam project, can you just check again with DEC and just make sure that they know that we want to do this in August and
yep.
See if if they think that that's possible.
If they can do some stuff, on parallel tracks. So,
Perfect.
Yep.
That was going to be my question. Get DEC involved, now.
Yep. Good
All
point.
right. Next up, discussion on rec department status and signups.
I think that's a Tania thing.
Sorry, I was unmuting. So the first thing on this has to do with our online arts and crafts program. So I have an update from Tammy. At this point, she said the feedback on the program is great. We have over 100 likes on Facebook, and she's been delivering everything. She's used up almost all of last year's and is ordering stuff new. She's planning on having pickups at the Green in the summer as things are opening, and then we may be doing the program at the Green again like normal. So she's been dealing with me and mostly Donna in ordering. She's ordered all of her new supplies. So I wanted to start with that. The second one was I spoke to Zach about football. I am getting a lot of emails from parents, which makes sense, and I told them I would bring it up here. The question is, the next sport that should be had is football and cheer. I talked to Zach, and he was thinking if we could do signups with payment with a note on there knowing that it might be canceled and all payments will be refunded via the way it's paid. It's easier to refund right on Rec Desk. It would go back. But by the time he would get back in August, football starts 2 weeks later, and so we need to do the signups in July. And at that point, we should be in phase 4 or 5 when things could happen in August. So it would be proactive to take signups. However, knowing there's a clause in there, it may not happen. All the coaches would be told, and then anything would instantly be refunded if the board has decided it can't happen.
Yeah, I think that's...
The other was soccer. Soccer at Cortland was canceled this week also, and so they're looking to have a winter league. And at this point, we were going to combine with them, so a late program may not happen in the fall, but there's still a question of possibly having it in the winter. And they don't know where it would be yet, but it's just what's going on. So the biggest request was to have cheer and football signups just in case and to go from there.
I'm all right with that.
Me too.
All right, I'm good with that.
So we'll set that up and open it. When I spoke to him, he said a 2-week window is better, so we would put this out in our notices. We can put it on the water bills and start them in July, like mid-July for signups.
All right.
Water bill's going to be filled with surveys and notices. I love it. What a great way. It's a great way to communicate.
Yep. Then we can put it on all the Facebooks and everything and share it. And I have a lot of parents that have emailed me, so I can email them back.
So do we need a motion or something, or it's just discussion?
No, it was more of if we would consider it, since it's a consideration, it's not for sure happening. If we would need a motion in like July or August if we don't have it and to refund everybody.
Okay.
I'll leave this with Al then.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. Okay. Approve Heather as part-time cleaner at $20.40 per hour.
Make a motion.
Second.
Is that the normal rate that we were going with cleaners?
I'll let Tanya jump in on that. I think that's what we were paying.
From what I read,
all of our cleaners make that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Seems like it conflicts with the next item up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but
we had
there's
a bit-
very limited hours that person will work as compared to the cop will be full-time.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was the discussion we had
Yeah.
about that, and that's
'Cause I remember that
to be
conversation
20 bucks
we
an
had.
hour, and you couldn't get anybody for an hour and a half because they said it's not worth it.
Yeah,
So
that's right, because it's
you had
limited
to do
hours.
this.
Yep.
All right,
So-
I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
Same here.
I'll make that motion. Did you make the motion, Tim?
You can, Kevin, go ahead. I'll second.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, very good. Next up, approve Michael Winchell as part-time police officer at 1868. This is coming in to replace Kim Natolai, who left on pregnancy.
I'll make a
Also,
motion.
I'll
okay,
second.
there's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, the other thing I would like to do is, and it's not on the agenda, but I would like to open up at least one, I'd say 2 more full-time and 2 more part-time slots for the police department. Just so chief has them there if, somebody comes along that he wants to grab, that we don't have to wait till a board meeting. It's not to say that it's going to be filled or anything, but this was an example of where we really needed this officer to start right away to be ready for the March. And so we had to have Kim resign and him come in and get sworn in instantly. So it would just give him a little more flexibility, especially, as we're, changing around staff right now.
Makes a lot
Al,
of sense.
don't we have,
Hal, wait, we can't do that until there's paperwork I have to do for civil service, and we could do it at the next board meeting.
Okay,
We have to do a job description, even though we have one, and there's paperwork for that.
okay,
And we can put it on the agenda for next time.
perfect. Let's do that then.
I'm
Yes.
with you on that though,
Hal, don't we have 12 part-time people?
We've got a lot of part-time people, but some of them they're not really available as much as we would need them to be. And
Then
so,
let's get rid of them.
But they're there when he needs them for other things. So
Yeah.
some,
Oh, so
Yeah,
you want to
some
go to
specifically do
15
bite.
people?
again, it's positions. It's not, they're as needed. They're only getting paid when they're working.
Oh, I understand. So 15 is fine with me then. What's the difference?
Yeah, I hate to see a good candidate that comes along that he's keen on bringing in that we lose because we don't have an open slot is all. That's really what it's just flexibility.
It's
I don't have a
convenience.
problem with 15.
Okay. All right. So we'll work on that for the next meeting.
I'll get the exact numbers from civil service and then do the job descriptions, and then we can just add how many we want to get up to.
Perfect. All right. Next up, the moment Phil's been waiting. And so this is, and I think Mike is on too. I think we got Mike on there. This is what you guys want to do with the CHIPS funding.
Yeah,
You're muted, Phil. Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, we talked it over. Yeah, we think it's a good idea.
So I see, so that's for this year and then assuming next year, right? That's what you're looking at already?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm good with that.
That's the classic 100,000 or so, right?
Yeah, that's a, there's no
Minus-
way.
Minus 20%, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's no way of knowing because the governor has the on-the-fly ability to change the budget
Right.
at any time without warning. So, so all right. Yeah, I think this is great. I don't think we need to vote to approve it or anything like that, do we?
Still good with that fire station, since that was kind of been an ongoing question?
Let me look.
So the ones proposed are Central Park, the fire station, and the rec building parking lot, and we do need to vote to approve them because it's grant funds.
Okay.
I'll make the motion then to approve the
second.
funds.
And just a quick question for me, if you don't mind, before you guys vote, Central Park, that's only our portion, right, Mike?
Well, we never heard anything back from the school, whether they were going to help or not, or the churches. So, Dan, didn't you forward a letter to the school asking them to help out with the?
Yeah, we initiated conversations, and of course, all everything went to hell in a handbasket. So, nothing came from it. But before these guys say go do Central Park, I think definitely the churches and the schools need to weigh in to, i.e. cough up some money too. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's fair
I
to
agree.
But that's a non-voting thing, right? So we don't have to vote and table it or anything crazy, right?
No,
no, it's just,
but I would put that ladder on your list to pave.
Actually, we do need to vote on whichever these are because they're CHIPS funds, and we can't claim any portion that's someone else's property.
Yeah.
So the Central Park at 22,000, we can only put in for what's ours. So if we're voting to pay it all, the rest is coming from like our road reserve. Because when you're looking at this is what we're voting to pay.
Right. So where does our portion of Central Park end?
Should be around that first bend right there as you come off Main Street.
Yeah, right at the little white church steps kind of thing.
Oh, that's where it ends. So we just had that little jog.
Basically in front of those two houses, yeah.
Man.
So obviously that price would probably cut 2/3 of it out of it, right?
I would think.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's. I don't want to commit our road reserve funds to paving other people's property.
I don't either.
Well, the other thing too is if, it makes no sense. To me, it makes no sense to pave Central Park unless you're going to do the whole section.
Right.
You're just going to have. So unless we get the other two entities on board.
Yeah. Why don't we wait on Central Park, and then if they come on board, then our portion we can pull from road reserves, which would be much smaller.
Yeah, it would actually come from CHIPS then. So it would be from the grant. If we do someone else's part, we have to take it from road reserves.
Right, but what I'm saying is because we don't know if they're going to want to chip in and do it here, let's repurpose this line to something else for this year. And then if they do decide that they want to kick in, we can pay for it from our road reserves instead of our CHIPS money because it'll be a lot less. And then we can use the full amount of this on another road.
Right. So I'm looking for my notes and I can't find the things. So we're looking at, what were the other roads that we're looking at doing?
Laura Lane, Copeland, Cherry Street, Greenwich Street.
Phelps.
So Mike and Phil, what if you guys had to if you had to take that 22,254.60 and put it to another road, what would your next choice be?
Cherry Street, Laura Lane, Greenwich. Some of the smaller ones we need to do as soon as we can.
Greenwich is just a short little jaunt anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but aren't those already on the
right
list
into Cherry
done?
Street? Yes.
So what would be a street outside of what we have on the list to do this year that we would do in place of Central Park?
We don't want to do that, Tim. We want to do the priority order, and then we'll find another road for next year, right? To add.
But I thought the question was, assuming we don't do Central Park, what would we do for an alternative?
Yeah, but I don't think we need to approve next year's this year.
Yeah, but couldn't we do one this year in place of it?
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is
Tim, they're only doing 3. They're not doing that whole list.
Okay, that's where I was confused. I thought the whole list was what we were doing. Okay.
No, just the pluses.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just the fire station, rec building, and the proposed with Central Park. So if it's replaced, it would be from off of that list.
Yeah, we could pretty much do Cherry and Greenwich both instead of Central Park.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep, that makes sense.
Does that sound good, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that, and then we'll get in touch with the school and the churches about Central Park and figure it out. And if we have to chip in some money, then we'll do that.
Very good.
This way we can move forward. Okay.
Just so we need to plan. That's all, because time's gonna run short.
Yep. All right. Do we have a motion?
And what was the thing about the fire station parking?
we weren't sure, we've kind of gone back and forth about doing that. I think there's a couple reasons, different reasons, but one of them was we weren't sure if we were going to a fire district or not. And if we're going to a fire district, it's kind of money that we'd be putting in and giving away versus using it for something else. But I don't know what the right solution is. Mike and Phil, how bad is that fire station parking lot compared to other things?
It's getting pretty bad down there.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. It's up to you guys.
Very good. We aren't going to be able to do anything down there or with Central Park till the gas company gets done anyway.
Oh, right.
So it's going to be late. We just got to start planning on when we can do it, this whole thing. So yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to do fire station, rec building, parking lot, Greenwich, and Cherry Street with the grant funding?
Motion made.
Ed seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Unanimous. Very good. And
Thank
now,
you.
thanks, guys. All right. Now
Thanks, guys.
All right. Dante, do you have anything for us?
Just a couple of quick things. So I got all the title work back for those 3 properties we're buying on Route 11. I'm going to send off the title work to the IDA for their attorney to prepare all the transfer documents to us, but I'll review the other 2 while they're pending. I just spoke to James Stockwin, the surveyor we hired last meeting. He was aware of the TOMA funding. He had talked to Rich last week, but he hasn't actually started yet. But he's going to start today, and he says he'll have it done by the end of the week. Next week. So we're in good shape with that project. Rich was going to reach out again to Forrest Earl, who he had initial conversations with after last meeting, but they haven't set up any times yet to go start the environmental review of those 3 projects. But everything's moving forward. And then we're having the planning board meeting. The other thing I wanted to mention to you guys, tomorrow we're having the planning board meeting for Burn Dairy. So
good.
We're in the final stages of review of that project. They will do a full site plan review, and Dan sent out the stormwater prevention plan, SWPP, out to an engineer who is, I guess, in the final stages of reviewing that. He might not have the plan back for the board by tomorrow, but that's something they can, if they were to approve the project, they can make it contingent on an acceptable stormwater prevention plan review.
That's probably what they're going to have to do. I doubt Ken will have it tomorrow.
Okay.
Especially with the number of questions he had, unless he had a healthy discussion this afternoon with them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, those were the only 2 things I wanted to touch base with you guys on. If you had any questions, let me know.
Okay.
Thanks, Dante.
Thank you, Dante. All right. Let's see. Comments by board members. Let's start with Ed. What do you got, Ed?
All right. I'm looking for somebody that has a really nice slick drone that might like to go up and down the river and make a nice video for our river trail, and also possibly drive it over the top of our DRI area that we might use for our DRI presentation, which may or may not happen later this summer. And that would be part of the presentation. Jamie Reppert said he'd like to come down to visit Homer, you, Mayor, the rest of us, and go look at the river trail area, blah, 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 our DRI, which is all river trail kind of stuff and river kind of stuff. So
Ed, do you know who has just such a unit?
Hell no. Yeah, I do. My nephew's got one, but he's up at camp, and he's got one that goes about 5 miles out, and it's high definition. But
Zach has a really nice one.
All right, so we need to hire Zach, or when he comes back, and maybe have him set something up.
I thought he got rid of his.
Yeah, he did. He got rid of it.
Okay. No, he got a new one. He just posted pictures the other day.
All right.
Yeah, he took pictures of the high school football field and a bunch of things.
All right, so maybe if we
He
could,
better still be in business because he got a micro enterprise grant for that.
who?
He
Yeah.
got a micro enterprise grant. This is before he got hired as a rec director. Micro enterprise grants go around before this last one. So he has a business, drone business. I forget the name of it right now off the top of my head, but he needs to stay in business for a few more years.
Well, I'd like to, hopefully, if we could find a teeny bit of money, whatever, someday. It's not required right now, but you know, while it's nice and pretty and green and not snowy and crappy, it'd be a
Great
good time
idea,
to,
Ed.
maybe
Great idea.
we do a 4-season one, you know, and just merge them together.
You want to know
It's
if there's
probably
a
good to
height
have for
requirement
the
over
village.
private property?
Yeah, you can go right down the river. That's ours.
The river's fine. I'm talking, you want to go to the DRI area. That's a bunch of multi-dwellings all around there. Yes or no?
Yeah, there is. But so what? Can't you go
Well, it's-
over houses?
There's got to be a height requirement. You only can stay. You can't get too low on top of private property. I
A
would
couple
imagine.
100 feet is fine with me. I don't have to look in their windows. I mean, that's not the kind of thing I'm thinking about here.
I'm not saying you are, Ed. I'm just trying to keep the village aboard.
No, whatever's legal. I'm just saying, I think it would be nice to have that for the mayor to say, hey, I'm in Albany. Hey, here's my town. Take a look at this 2-minute clip of, whoa, you know, you could do movies here if you put dirt on Main Street. It could be like 1860s. You know, it could be pretty cool as a public. Anyhow, just saying, over.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
No, I'll save it for the executive.
Okay. Pat, what do you have?
I know Chief and both Homer Fire Department and Homer Police Department are no longer on, but I did want to thank them, Chief Pittman specifically, and Homer Police Department, Homer Fire Department, the Fire Police, DPW, and the residents of our village for really having a great event on Saturday on very extremely short notice and charged times. And everybody really stepped up and showed the best of everything. And Hal, kudos to you for putting that, dealing with this 3 freight engine wreck that could have been coming to the village and making sure everything was safe. I really appreciate that.
Second on that.
Yeah. The other thing too is I know we had a discussion about some residents at the north end of the village where Stella's Variety Shop, and that's actually on the Homer town side.
Yeah.
I know we had some concerns about residents about noise on the Homer village side. The town
Noise on the village side of it?
No, noise on the town side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it affects village residents on our side.
Yeah. They have to call 911 to get the county sheriff out there is the issue. So
I know the town is aware of it and their code officer is also aware of it and he's going to be looking into it. That's on their jurisdiction. The last thing I just wanted to mention was I saw the budget to actuals, and with all of our conservation measures in place right now, we seem to be doing okay. But I know we've got a long road ahead of us, so now is not the time to let up. But I just wanted to let our residents know that with the actions that the village is taking, we are seem to be okay so far on our spending versus our income.
Very good.
And that's all I have.
That's all you have? Tim, you're next. You got anything?
Yeah, most of the questions I had were answered during the meeting, but with one exception. Little League is still holding out apparently for a season to happen sometime, they think, hopefully in July. Is this even feasible for them to be thinking of at this point?
Not feasible for them to be thinking of if they don't come take care of their field.
Yeah,
No.
And I've had a lot of discussion with Phil. Phil, if you want to comment on it, you can. But I think what has happened is they felt that the deal was that they would take care of the infield, not the outfield, and the rest beyond the fence. Me and Phil both thought that they were doing everything inside the fence. So this is where the discrepancies happen. I don't know if we could clear this up or what we should do going forward.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I think they ought to take care of everything inside the fence.
I feel the same way personally.
Like I told Tim too, I said, if it's gonna be an issue, we'll mow it just to keep it maintained. So, because the grass is over a foot tall.
So were they coming in?
Inside.
Were they coming in and maintaining the infields and keeping them all nice and short?
From
Outfields going down.
A couple of guys said they were mowing it to the pitcher's mound and first and third base, and that was it. The rest of it wasn't mowed at all. So,
right.
Like I said, Tim, if it's going to be an issue, I mean, we can mow it. Them guys have to be up there anyway. Just keep track of their time or whatever.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
To be done.
I'm getting frustrated because I thought we had. I thought that was all sorted out.
Yep.
Well, we were supposed to meet with Little League and haven't yet, and to finalize a new contract because that hasn't gone forward. So we could actually meet with them and do that. Zach proposed a contract, but it was missing some of this. It still had to go to the board. So even if they suddenly wanted tomorrow, they can't because there's no contract. So we should be looking to meet with them anyway.
Okay.
In case they want to do this.
All right, then if that's the case, I will reach out tomorrow to them and set this meeting up.
And Tim, as far as this goes, and whether or not they are able to do it, it's all at the governor's discretion, right? If the governor says play ball, then play ball, and if he doesn't,
Hal, allowed. Cortland is allowed. They're doing only the 11 and 12-year-olds, and that somehow met the governor's thing, but I haven't looked at it.
I don't know if it met the governor's thing or if they're just assuming that they will be able to by that point, because I haven't heard where any organized sports like that have been allowed. I mean, you can't even play badminton. You can play tennis, but not badminton because you're too close together. So I'd be a little shocked if he's allowing baseball, Little League. I think that they're just taking a guess and hoping that it'll be open by then.
And our Little League, that's what they did. They left it subject to the, I believe, 10 through 12-year-olds, the two different leagues that cover those ages, in hopes that it gets to be able to happen.
Yeah, and that's
the rest
fun.
of it, they've already fully canceled for the season, like the T-ball and the younger groups.
Yeah, if they want to do that and deal with that, I mean, because the money goes through them and they'd have to do all the refunds and everything, that's fine. But it's whatever the governor says is what we're going to allow. You know, yeah. I don't want to be more restrictive than he is, but I also don't want to do anything that's going to get us in real trouble either.
Right.
So what he says is what we'll do.
Okay. So that I'll just set up the meeting then, so we can clear up the whole mowing problem and any other questions we may have at the time.
Perfect.
It'll probably be a Zoom meeting, I'm assuming. So I'll let you know what they say availability is.
Okay. Thanks, Tim.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep.
Kevin, what do you got?
Well, I had the opening of the town hall. I think it's time, but I guess you and Fred will figure that out Friday morning.
Yeah. I think probably it's a matter now of getting the plexiglass things built and put in, but I don't see any reason that we couldn't reopen it, either fully or partial hours next week.
Okay. That and while I was there this morning for a while, I was amazed at how many times the phone rang. I don't know how you guys get anything done.
It's crazy, right? I don't know how they do either.
Just thanks to everybody in the office for doing the job that they do.
Yes.
I was curious about the country club water situation, but I guess that's still.
Yeah, we got to see where Buzz is at. I thought he was having a meeting with them about that, and I haven't heard yet. So I think he's going to have to check with them again. But, eventually we'll get to the point where we're going to just send them a notice that we're turning their water off.
Right. Okay. And I've seen some work at Newton Park. What's happening there today? Anybody know?
Yeah, they have, they were preparing, oh, go ahead, Phil.
No, go ahead. They're getting ready to put the other swing set in,
Oh,
the last piece of the playground on the end. So they were excavating the spot out for it today,
all right.
starting.
Super. And when are we going to open that part?
That's another, parks are open, but playgrounds are not yet.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, so, and I didn't see anything in phase 3 about playgrounds. So that might be a phase 4 thing. So I hate every time I drive past there and I see the caution tape and no kids
I know.
playing.
Me
yeah,
too.
I know that.
Yeah,
Feel bad for the little guys.
yeah.
When Dirt Key
So-
Park is open, they got swings, don't they?
They're taped off too. Kevin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Takes care of that.
Still on the meeting.
All right, that's it.
Okay. All right. Bye. Chief Pittman called me. I don't know why. What's happening? We got a board meeting. All right. All right. Anything else, Kevin?
Nope, that's it.
Very good. And we need to go into executive session to discuss personnel matter as per New York State Public Officer Law, Article 7, Section 105. But before that, anyone from the media have any questions you'd like to ask? Any of us?
I don't think they're on.
Are they gone?
Paris.
Don's on.
Oh yeah, Don, yes.
Yep.
We like Don.
That's good to hear. I'd hate to think if you didn't like me.
No. You know I like you.
We like you a great deal.
I buy ink by the barrel.
Yeah.
I've got nothing nothing that I would post on the air.
Okay.
Anything I have to say, I'll tell you privately.
All right. Then can I get a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Ed seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, just
All right.
if everyone will pause, I'll stop the live stream and stop recording.